Good morning, everybody. I'm very, very tired. I stayed up this morning after my shift, and it's UNSC Live, posted by Russia publicly, unfiltered, unregulated, entirely for the whole world who wanted to watch. RT News, straight from Vladimir Putin. He's not sick, he's not dead. Enough with the UK propaganda that's being propagandized in Canada. That was posted. We heard from every nation in the world, all of them on the UNSC. I haven't heard Zelensky speak yet. I'm not even going to bother, because Zelensky has no stroke, none whatsoever in this game. This is clearly China, Russia, USA, UK, France. P5, guys. They've all spoken this morning. Russia is not backing down. In fact, they're pissed. Dmitry Polansky, deputy ambassador on the world stage for Russia. Every country gets two. Dmitry, very smart man, very academic, taught me a lot about a lot of treaties. Years prior, as I pursued Alberta independence, he was the ambassador I went to. Vasily Nebenza never was interested too much in what I had to share about Alberta independence. A lot of what I was learning in the UN, questions I had, Dmitry, the deputy, always filled me in. Now, Dimitri's the big voice here. The big voice in the P5. He articulates well. He came out swinging today. And folks, I don't mean a little bit. I mean like, we will respond in kind. They will destroy every Ukrainian if that's what it takes, if the West pushes forward. They're not backing down. Putin's not sick. He's not dying. He's very much alive and well. He did a video live for everybody today as well too, early in the morning, and then bam, Dmitry televises absolutely through RT News the entire UNSC session for all citizens of the world publicly. If you follow RT News on Facebook, you got to sit there as a citizen in the world and watch them live. That's Russia's choice. Any UNSC P5 member can do that. Russia chose, as UNSC P5, to release that live for all of you. That's happening right now. It's still going on. This is today in our time. These are generally 3-hour sessions. Now, some are televised and some are closed. Russia's chosen to use their seat to televise the entire thing on Facebook. It's going on right now. I already checked the calendar. It's real. It's scheduled. They're all there. We heard from Linda Thomas Greenfield, USA, who's not going to directly fight Russia, made that clear in her speech. But yet Russia responds with, we're tired of the shit. We're not backing down. The more you go, the more are going to die. And we're going to continue and go further and further and further. Keep pushing. We'll go further and further and further. Now, the crazy part about all of this, folks, crazy. Massive weapons caches have been liquidated from Ukraine. Not by Russia, not by USA, not by UK, France, but other Europeans. There's massive weapons now all over Europe, sold illegally. Massive weapons caches from the States. They're now in terrorist hands. This is backed up in real data. Real news media. You're not going to hear about this in Canada, but sure enough, you find it all through Europe. They can't even stop it. For folks who don't know, guns like here out west, States, even Canada, if you're a responsible gun owner, we're talking like massive anti-aircraft guns, missiles, are in the hands of Europeans who aren't even allowed gun licenses. These are terrorist organizations, all kinds of crazy stuff. They're now in a position to blow up nuclear reactors on power plants in Europe, all over the place, even in Germany. It's crazy. It's out there, it's published. American massive firepower sold by the Ukrainian corrupt government. Not Russians, not Americans, not Brits, not French. Ukrainian government officials with Zelensky. It's real. They all know it's real. And you heard it today as the Western Bloc is breaking down. It's literally breaking down. You hear UK's rhetoric. You hear France's rhetoric. Albania sided on with them. USA's rhetoric, which is always the same. They never commit to anything that they're willing to go to war. China stands up, says release Russian grain. Everybody, this is real. We heard them all live in an untelevised, made for viewable on Facebook by way of Vladimir Putin. He says, you know what? I'm going to let you hear it all. All citizens of the world can hear the entire session, not televised, not public. You're going to hear it live. I'm going to televise it because I'm in USCP5. It's on my timeline. I'm going to add it to the video title. Now, folks, Canada's a big country. Major food power in exports, major food power. Now, we go through US and even China. Not as much as USA. 90% of it's through USA. Others go out and we have some Chinese ships that export food for us. Those are our value and supply chains on our agriculture in this world today. Forever and a day. Canada doesn't ship all over the world. Sorry, contrary to popular belief, we're like most of the other 193 nations of the world. Sure, we have major agriculture, but folks, we're not shipping it. We're not protecting those supply lines. We're utilizing P5 members' supply lines. Mostly USA and a good portion now of China. That was done in Harper, okay? Not Russia, not anybody else. Now, on the European side of the world, now, Canada, a massive country. We are a major, for 38 million people in such a massive country. Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, small parts of BC, not much. And it gets really limited. Ontario, very limited, guys, very limited. But the agricultural production is pretty major in the world. So's Ukraine. But you know that they pale in comparison. So Ukraine's big, Canada's big. Put them together. Did you know that they are half as much as the total grain production of Russia alone? Number one, not by a little margin, a massive amount, doubling Ukraine and Canada and then some. The world is starving. The colored world is starving. Not the white world, not the Western white world. The colored world is starving. And do you know whose value and supply chain delivers the grain? Oh, sure, there's 5 million tons that naturally comes from Ukraine, but who has the lion's share? Oh, it's Russia. Also, fertilizers, it's the exact same thing. Russia has the lion's share, meaning most of the colored world is starving because of the sanctions on Russia. You can watch their live posted by Russia. All the countries bring this up. All the African members on the UNSC. Now remember, there's only 50 members in total. The rotating members, there's the 5, and then there's the rotating members, folks. So, 2 African countries spoke up. They're all starving because they don't have Russian grain and Russian fertilizer. Who are they going to go to war with? Now, this is third world countries. Russia has always been their value and supply chain. It's affordable in ruble for them to buy grain. Russia doesn't go out to exploit people. They deal, they trade, they do things, but they don't exploit things in capitalism. It's not a news flash, it's always been that way. The third world relies heavily on Russia. You know who else outside of the black folks of the world in the third world? The brown folks. You know what major country, massive country? India. India does. Do you know what India said today, along with both the African members said? Well, India said the same thing. They want Russian grain fertilizer. They don't want the sanctions. They want a deal. They want the West and Zelensky to make a deal. Obviously, China does too, who finished with, "You won't press us on Taiwan or even threaten the one China policy USA agreed to." Now, UK wants that. They had Hong Kong, Coffin City they created. They created the opium crisis that affects the entire world. In fact, 2 opium wars fought against China where we will drug your citizens and murder them through drug addiction and overdose, or we'll kill you. And they were able to do that. They were able to do that twice in very, very recent history. World War I prior, leading up to, and after. And they imposed until World War II, and China said, not anymore. China doesn't forget. They got Hong Kong, they had to give it back. Do you think that UK could fight today a war against China, Beijing's regime, communist regime? Do you think that China alone could wipe UK out in less than probably, I would say maybe a month's time, tops? That's the truth. Little island state, when you look at space, UK must rely on USA. UK has the exact same amount of nuclear arsenal weaponry as does China. Same amount of nukes. But who has more fighter planes? Who has more missiles? Who has more navy? Who has much more of UK? Well, China does. And soldiers and all the technology, the space technology, way outperforming the United Kingdom. Not by a little margin, folks, by an extremely large margin. UK isn't even comparable to China anymore in 2022. Little grape island called UK and its people, 66 million, versus a watermelon. Maybe most of the people live in a second world status, but just with that second world status, sheer numbers and massive economy, they can crush UK. The only thing stopping them from that is the United States of America. Now, the problem here is USA's numbers, sure, they're twice the size of Russia. Russia's got way more nuclear advancements. Their power in space and development, likely militarily, just in sheer numbers and tech, because it's double the size, USA could defeat Russia if they don't throw any nuclear bombs. Nobody wins there. But in a straight-on fight back and forth, USA would likely defeat Russia at major costs. It's not an easily won war. It would be the worst war USA could ever go into, and vice versa for Russia. Oh, everybody's banging me off this morning. I should have turned notifications off. The problem is, folks, is that it's not going to just be Russia versus USA. China, quite capable with UK, even France, can back up Russia quite easily. And it's not possible for USA to defeat Russia and China. And then there's the wild card called India. Now, if India went with USA and UK and France under Joe Biden, that's possible. But to feed those people, to provide everything that's being provided, who's doing that? Guess what, folks? Just like Canada, I'm just going to take a quick second out because people are going to keep banging me here. Maybe it'll stop, I don't know. Hopefully. If it does it one more time, I'm going to stop because it's very distracting. It's my fault. So, where was I? Okay, so I was at India and I'm very tired. Oh, I hate that. Russia, India, China, most of Africa, so all the people of color in the world versus basically UK, France, and USA. Now, we can throw all the other countries of Europe, but if you've never monitored, like Donald Trump monitored and went through commitments to NATO, commitments to international peace and security, commitments to the UN military, the blue helmets, the peacekeeping missions, you'll see they've all dropped off considerably. Now, yes, all the European nations, 27 of them, 700 and I believe 47 million people in total, with a teeny weeny military might power. France very weak now these days, very weak. Germany demilitarized, Japan demilitarized, they're not strong. Australia not very strong, Canada not very strong, and again, large countries, limitedly populated. If you have India, China, several African nations, Africa, all 52, that's well over 700 million people. When it comes to food security, the rest of it, what are they going to choose? Are you going to choose a system where a loaf of bread is going to cost them in their monetary system $30, $40 American in their changeover? They can't make that in a month. What do you think all these folks are going to choose? What are their governments going to have to choose? They're all calling for, was called for today, massive changes in the global financial system. Now, climate change was brought up there, and that's what the third world wants. At this point, I wouldn't even press climate change. Joe Biden's going to be long gone. I don't see how that's ever going to happen as countries like France ramp up coal. Other countries ramp up coal. Germany, massive manufacturer, ramping up coal. Things are not going the way of the Joe Biden. His vision of the future is the garbage can. He's following Justin Trudeau's great lead. I guess he thought that was a winning strategy. Maybe he should have read his own Constitution. I'm going to go through that, I hope, tonight. I might be tired. This was a huge, huge day. People say it's not important to talk about America and issues with Joe Biden and the Supreme Court right now, as Joe Biden is threatening to create what would be a populist court or a king's court privy to the president. We're going to go through that Constitution, why that's never going to happen. We're going to go through it piece by piece in basically straightforward language. You can rip through, when you go through as many constitutions as I have in the world, you'll find going through America's snap of a finger, very easy. Canada, a little more work. But you're going to find that Joe Biden's attempts to breach all of it, make narratives, Zelensky making narratives that Americans should pay him. I'm going to get into all that, just the corruption we witnessed today. And I didn't even bother staying in to listen to Zelensky or the remaining members, as Ireland stepping down, their ambassador is, and I mean, they're just going to, I already know the rhetoric they're going to give, and Zelensky's going to give, the actor. As Russia said, as Russia's going to do, and the more the West presses, the further in Russia's going to go. They're not going to end, and they will only match firepower. They're stationed way better for it. It's Ukrainians who are going to suffer and continue to suffer. Russia made it clear today they are not backing down. Everything that the West brings forward for Ukraine to use in Ukraine against Russia, Russia responds in kind. It's only going to get uglier. And Kenya sounded the alarm, folks. A lot of them are talking about, but Kenya sounded the alarm. We are very, very close to a World War III. And this World War III, USA, with its France and UK and all the Commonwealth and all the colonial countries, this is going to be, folks, this is going to be white West versus all the colors of the world and white Russia and maybe a few other white areas that were former USSR. They're Caucasian citizens. That's what it's going to be. I don't even know where a lot of the white nations, like Germany, where's Germany going to go on that? Where are they going to go? That's a wild card too. I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, they're going to jump on board with the West. If you're a military person, I mean, I'm not, but I measure how much weapons does everybody have, how much tech does everybody have, who's controlling space, how many soldiers you got, how many planes you got, how many submarines, how many. You put those blocks together versus this West, and it don't look good. USA ain't able to take that many on. There needs to be a deal made here over Ukraine. Has to be a deal. Russia told you what they wanted many years ago. Nobody wanted it. Now it's escalated beyond all measure. The sanctions against Russia are starving most of the world. Not Ukraine's lack of delivery, folks. That's games from the white West. And I'm white and I'm in the West. I hate to have to say this. It's not popular. It's not going to win a lot of people, but it's the truth. And I'll be damned if my kids are going to go fight in a war that shouldn't even be. That's reality. Old white men's power struggle in the world. I've had enough of colonialism. And those saying that what Russia's doing with Ukraine is colonialism, I think you need to read your history books. Go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, pull all of the massive publications from all history till now. Do it. They're old institutions. You can pull many articles. I did a pictorial for everybody. This was the Russian Republic, red, white, and blue. Shows you clearly the territory. USA don't like it. But they had a chance out. We're going to talk solutions, folks. Do you know we can make a solution? Because Russia doesn't operate the way we tell them they're going to operate. This isn't Canada institutionalized citizens. It's not. These are different culturally developed people. The Russians are not going to be bullied. They have more nuclear capability and firepower. They have hypersonic nukes. Elon Musk don't have any hypersonic nukes. He doesn't even have self-driving electric cars. That was all a lie. And he ain't got no hypersonic nukes or any other hypersonics to equate what Russia's got. The country of science. You study this, you read, you start to learn. When you ignore propaganda, you say, fuck the UK. They've never been no good for a very, 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 very long time, maybe if ever. Constitutional monarchies don't work. Canada's a glutton for punishment. Canadian citizens will believe almost anything they're told, whether it's reality. That's not Russians. Russians, no. We said no. You push, we're going to push back. Push harder, we're going to hit back harder. Throw this at me, I'll throw two of those at you. That's how they operate. They've always operated this way. USA, they're a war machine too. Their people are culturally developed. Their society is culturally developed that way. They fought 5 colonials. Russia went through genocide from Germany. They fought and fought. You can look at the history of Ukraine. The boundaries of today have been changed over and over and over and over in history. It's been Asian at one point. What do you say was Ukraine before? What happened in the time of some William Shakespeare? A little over 500 years ago. What happened to Ukraine then? Oh, they were completely leveled and destroyed. Wiped right out. I think 200 homes left in all of Ukraine. Russia rebuilt the entire country, and Russian settlers went in. Ukraine came back. They change boundaries all the time. It's not our place or our war or our right to press on peoples. How would you feel, honestly? Like, think about Quebec. All French people. What if tomorrow Quebec said, all of Canada must speak French. We're going to get rid of English. Well, but all of us out west, we're all English speaking. Quebec's a superior minority here, man. It's one thing, okay, bilingualism, okay, we have to make it available, okay, Canada, make concessions. But what if tomorrow a prime minister through his crown said, we're going to make all of Canada French. Now you got to go to school, all your children have to learn to speak French. Well, English parents go, I don't speak French, I got to work for a living to pay all your taxes, I'm not going to learn French, I can't afford it, I got no time for that. And my kids, I don't want them to learn everything in French. I want them to learn English. And what if they said you have to? They start doing other things. And then majority is English. We're not going to do that. All of a sudden there's police, military, just like residential schools. All of a sudden they're coming in and they're bullying their way, pushing it. This is what happened with Ukraine and Russia, back and forth. And Western powers got involved as it's been corrupted. We knew the Ukraine regime was corrupt. It's been published over and over every year by the United States of America. Magically, they don't report that. All of a sudden, overnight, the most corrupt, one of the top 3 most corrupt nations out of 193 in the world, Ukraine, all of a sudden, that's not an issue anymore. All of a sudden, oh no, Zelensky's awesome. He's got a cocaine problem. Who cares? He's an actor. Hollywood loves him. Let's just go with the flow. Joe Biden loves him. Hunter loves him. Big problems, folks. Big problems. Russia's not backing down. The U.S. isn't winning. Russia said it will be to the last Ukrainian. And that's what's getting forced here. Nothing's been solved in 6 months. Russia only increases its territorial takes. A deal must be struck. There was the Minsk agreements. A deal could have been struck. Federalism. Give them federalism. Allow the regions to trade and deal with Russia. Don't take away the majority's language. Don't impose your will. Unitarily. Ukraine went unitary. Said, no, everyone will learn Ukrainian. Forget Russian. Can you imagine us doing that to Quebec? Imagine tomorrow we said, you know what, like the Donbass would be like Quebec. And the rest of Canada says, no, we're the majority. Forget our history. Forget the French. You're now going to be English. Forget it all. You can take your civil law, rip it up, burn it. And there are a lot of Canadians who talk like that. I've heard people in the West say that. Is it right? No. Those people are culturally independent, just like the First Peoples. Is it right to do what they do in Canada to the First Peoples? The worse, atrocious way? No. Never was, and it's not. It hasn't been legal since the UN Charter. But Canada does it. Today they talked about Russia breaching the ICJ. Russia must follow the rulings of the ICJ. Why? Canada didn't. You're going to tell UNSCP-5 Russia, the country with the most nuclear weapons and arsenal today, with a developed, clear, hypersonic missile, nuclear missile. Mach speed's unbelievable. USA still hasn't developed that. Russia did. It's proven. Regardless of Western propaganda, Russia's got it developed. It's ready to go. Proven. Test done. World knows. USA's working on it. Not there yet. Maybe in a couple of years. But as it stands today, where would that go? We look at this. Canada left the ICJ. No one says a word. 1994. We're done. We only do inside the Commonwealth under the UK. We don't recognize the ICJ. Forget South Africa and what could happen if that happened in Canada. We don't want that. We want the ruling elite over all the First Peoples and a third-class slavery. We want to keep our apartheid, which is really genocide, worse than apartheid, of the First Peoples, and keep a slave class paying for all those crimes forever and a day. No criminal accountability. We don't want what happened in South Africa to happen in Canada. So we're going to quit the ICJ. We won't take any rulings for them on anything to do with the savage Indians or the third-class slaves. We want our first-class system, and we're not going to take anything from you. So ICJ got the boot. They left it. Now they're saying Russia must obey UNSCP-5, the ICJ. Well, shitty little Canada doesn't have to. So why would Russia? Because Russia doesn't have to either. Nobody does. Nobody has to. They can reject it. Should they be thrown out of the UN for that? Sure. But if they threw Russia out, they'd have to throw everybody out. Canada would have got thrown out in 1994. They didn't. They continue on. The world's broken. It's disgusting. Not everything we're narrated from the West is the truth. USA is a tremendous country. They have a tremendous constitution. They're a beacon of hope. But every now and then, corrupt presidents come along like anywhere else. And today, Joe Biden is exactly what Canada is, what he wishes to be. He will be thrown out. They will be reset. It's just a matter of time. Coming here in November. But what will happen in the meantime? How long can Russia put up with Biden? Because if anyone watched today's presentations in the UNSC, they're about this close to World War III. Russia's already said, we'll just keep hammering back. And if anything goes past into Russia that's American, oh, you watch, we will respond in kind. We are this close to World War III, folks. A Russia, USA, and then China, maybe India, and I don't see a Western victory. I don't see the white ruling old men, first-class citizens of the world, taking this home. I see a lot of dead, working Joe Jane suckers. They ramp up our inflation, starve our children out, get them so desperate they'll run to military service. But you know what? The numbers aren't there. They're not. Better hope India sides with that side. But colonial past, do you think India is going to want to be leagued with Joe Biden and his American ideology in line with UK and France? A system India don't want. India left. They got independence. I don't think they want Edward VII style system ever returned to their brown person's nation. Not in any of their religions. They'll never accept it. That's my video, folks. If you haven't watched the video today, I'm going to be saving it. I've already posted on Facebook for everybody to watch. It's probably still going on right now. Probably could be done, but I think it goes for another 25 minutes. Usually they're about 3.5 hours. I will catch the end of that, but I have to sleep now. But this is breaking. It's got to be shared. People need to watch this video. More importantly, you should watch the UNSC. If you haven't ever watched that before, you got to understand their underlying thoughts here. They give underlying thoughts. Sure, they don't want to see the war in Ukraine. Sure, they said Ukraine's sovereignty, integrity, because they don't want to lose theirs. USA could take a pile of the world. China could take a pile of the world. Russia can take a pile of the world. All the P5 can. UK already showed the world what they could do if they organized to that level again. It's all about technology and superiority, military, and your ability to commit mass atrocity and participate in absolute colonialism. But USA doesn't do that. Russia doesn't do that. China doesn't do that. France and UK, they've done it and they will do it in their mindset and in their designs. They would gladly. They still hold many colonial jewels. And this is the problem, folks. When we talk about this New World Order, when we talk about what this environmental climate change and all this Green New Deal crap, where does it come from? It comes from pure colonials who still hold tremendous jewels. And you know what? The world of the black, the world of the brown, the world of the yellow, we can go on, the reds, we can go on and on. They don't want that world and that Western narrative. And it's detrimental to the United States of America. And I just don't see 325 million, regardless of their warlike mentality, designed defensively, reality defensively, but they're just not up to the snuff. Not in the world today. China's too far along. Russia's rebuilt itself largely rebuilt herself, and we're seeing it. No matter what USA supplies, it's not working. It's not. And if we go any more further, it's going to be an American weapon smashed into something in Russia, killed some Russians in Russian territory, and then it's going to be, oh yeah, fire this at the US, fire that at Russia, China, fire away, Taiwan, all of it, boom. I just don't see the Western white world winning this war this time. The world's changed too much, and I don't see yellow, red, black, brown teaming up with any of those white elites. I just don't see it. Not in the history. America maybe at a time, but that time isn't today, and it's not in the narrative of America today under this presidency. We've never been so close to such a dangerous time as we have been under Joe Biden, and we're going to get into his court of popularity under the Supreme Executive. I'm going to do that, I hope, later today. We'll see how I feel. It's already 20 to 11, and I got to sleep big hours, big job. Bye, everybody. Share. Watch the video. I'm going to add the link. I'm going to put it in the title. Bye now.